Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the Journey to Greatness, day 255 of 365 with David McDonald, the GOAT. All right. All right. We have our alarm set. Let's get to our meditation. I will see you guys all on the other side. All righty, my friends, welcome back. Man, it feels so good to tap in. AJ, good morning. Good morning, brother. Good morning, Liz. How's it going? Dude, brother. Good morning, man. Love you, brother. Thank you. You do the same, man. We got to connect soon. And I don't mean to say it just to say it. I really mean it. All right, so we're going to jump back into our book. It feels good to tap in with that meditation, man. There's nothing like it, you guys. All right, so we're getting into our reading routine now with Eckhart Tolle, and A New Earth is the book that we're reading right now. We're finishing up, and I'm trying to determine what our next book is going to be. So we'll just wait for that to come to us. I'll see you all on the other side. Alrighty, welcome back. So let's get into our. We just finished our reading routine, and now we are getting into our journaling routine. So in our journaling routine, I like to write about what I'm most grateful for, and in the morning, it's two things: waking up and being in perfect mental, spiritual, and physical health. Now, I also like to reflect on the day before and its activities just to show my respects, to all the small things that happen in my life because I'm grateful for everything that happens and every little thing, you know, usually pushes me closer to achieving whatever it is I wish to manifest. So showing that gratitude and humility in the present moment, the past, and something in the near future from the standpoint of goals are all things to journal about. Journal 228. I will see you all on the other side. All right, my friends, welcome back. So we'll get to this. Let's jump through this really quickly. Just a few good points made today in the amount of reading that we did. But one is fundamentally important for us to understand, because we truly are able to get into a really high state of freedom and power. You may remember the paradox of time we mentioned earlier. Whatever you do takes time, and yet it is always now. So while your inner purpose is to negate time, your outer purpose necessarily involves future, and so could not exist without time. But it is always secondary. Whenever you become anxious or stressed, outer purpose has taken over and you lost sight of your inner purpose. You have forgotten that the state of consciousness is primary, all else is secondary. So a lot of people want to become rich, right? And have financial freedom, this, that, and the other. That's great in everything, or be the best at what they do in their profession. That's great in everything. But there's two ways to mentally think about this. The first thing is understanding that time, everything does take time in essence. But the reminder here in this section of the book is that we have to know today, right now, at this very moment, we are the best at what we do. And that means to say, even though the world doesn't know it yet, even though our reality doesn't know it yet or hasn't reflected what we know about ourselves to be true, because we have this knowingness, then our reality will be manifested in a future pace sense. So it will happen later down the road, or maybe tomorrow, or maybe in the next minute or the next hour. But you have to be in constant awareness and constant consciousness of your greatness in order to step into it or allow it to elevate you to the imaginary level that you hold yourself to. Now, this is a very interesting opinion about greatness. The great arises out of small things. The great arises out of small things that are honored and cared for. Everybody's life really consists of small things. Greatness is a mental abstraction and a favorite fantasy of the ego. The paradox is that the foundation for greatness is honoring the small things of the present moment instead of pursuing the idea of greatness. The present moment is always small in the sense that it is always simple, but concealed within it lies the greatest power. Like the atom, it is one of the smallest things yet contains enormous power. Only when you align yourself with the present moment do you have access to that power. Or it may be more true to say that it then has access to you, and through you to this world. Jesus was referring to this power when he said, "It is not I, but the Father within me who does the work. And I can of my own self do nothing." So, in other words, greatness comes from the standpoint of executing on the golden window of opportunity. We've talked about that for months now. The golden window of opportunity would be, for example, me this morning recognizing my good friend and brother and saying, "Hey, we need to get together." For me to say, "Oh yeah, we get together," is partially, me excited to see him, online today, and then the other side of it is, well, I mean, there's not really half and half, right? It's just infinite energy of just happiness. But the other side would technically be, "Oh no, we really should get together." So that's the golden window of opportunity, and that's where greatness arises. So when you apply that same concept to something as simple as, recognizing and then saying, "Yes, I want to be in this space or this in this community or in touch with someone," right? and then executing on that. Two separate things, right? So first the thought, then the action. So the greatness, what the book is saying now is the greatness consists of really small things, but it's that gratitude in the small things that allow for our bigger blessings to come through. So when you are grateful for where you are in this life, when you are grateful for who you have in this life, as you're manifesting more and more people, more and more opportunity, when you're happy and grateful for yourself and the love that you have for yourself in this life, then the more and more blessings you will have in each one of these categories. And so um, it's important to pay attention to it. On the flip side, it is one of ego's favorite tendencies is to strive or look for greatness, right? To be better. So as we live this balanced, conscious life, it's important to pay attention to say, yes, yes, we strive for greatness. Yes, we are greatness. And yes, greatness is us, right? So greatness has chosen us rather than us trying to choose greatness. Greatness has chosen us. We come from a place of abundance, but with that, we don't lose sight, or we don't lose our mental, spiritual selves to the idea of being great. We just are. And so with that, pretty powerful stuff. A different, interesting paradox to say the least is what the author keeps saying. So anxiety, stress, and negativity cut you off from that power. So when you are in anxiety, and another thing that the book is saying is that God lives within us. Because God lives within us, therefore, and some people don't believe in God, some people do believe in God. In the end of the day, it's the inherent power that lives within you, that you have within you, right? So as you step into higher levels of consciousness, as you step and align yourself with different sequences of energy, you are able to tap into the speck of absolute power, the speck of the universal consciousness, intelligence. You're able to tap into that and use those resources and that energy to help create whatever it is that you wish to create on this life or in this life. And because that God, so I believe in God, right? So excuse me for not being neutral in this regard, but that God that lives within me, right, is just because there's a speck of him, and he has created the birds, the trees, the land, thinking about just the simple things, our bodies, how our bodies age, but yet how our bodies are powerful tools that heal themselves when something happens, right? The natural, functions of pregnancy, where a woman, can hold a baby or have a baby and nourish the baby through an umbilical cord, and then like the energy that the woman experiences, in her time of pregnancy and how that affects the kid, like the infinite power that creates something so beautiful as that, right? As us, as people, as the nature that we see every single day, the clouds, the seasons, the sun, the Mars, Jupiter, the planets, the outer space, all that stuff is in us. So a lot of that will blow us to smithereens. We literally self-explode. So there's a very, very small speck of that inside of all of us. And because there's a small speck inside all of us, it's important to be conscious and to know and pay attention to how the hell you're affecting other people, or how you're affecting, or the way you're acting, because the effect on other people could be tremendous, right? And we have to be mindful of our brothers and our sisters living on earth, right, with us. Because that same power, when you tap into it, could be used for evil, quote unquote, no judgment, can be used to hurt people. And it can also be used to help people. And so being awareness, you start to take on this identity of responsibility. I realize I am in full control of my reality. I'm responsible for myself. The moment that you come into that maturity, then the more that you're able to see how you're impacting not only yourself, but those around you. So you don't want to be anxious, stressed, or negative, because that'll cut you off from that true power that you possess. The illusion that you are separate from the power that runs the universe returns. The illusion that you are separate from the power that runs the universe returns when you are in a state of stress, anxiety, or fear, and probably many others. You feel yourself to be alone again, struggling against something, or trying to achieve this or that. But why did anxiety, stress, or negativity arise? Because you turned away from the present moment. And why did you do that? You thought something else was more important. You forgot your main purpose. One small error, one misperception creates a world of suffering. So it's ample. When I said earlier, it feels good to tap in, it feels wonderful to tap in with meditation. Because the thing is you who's I was talking who's I talking to? I was talking to a lady. Oh, so we're planning, right? We're planning a wedding right now. My wife, my fiance, and I. And we went to the planner this last weekend at one of these golf courses around here. And she was like, "Yeah, I know this can be so stressful." And I'm like, "There's nothing stressful about this, honestly. The only thing that's probably, thought provoking is just figuring out who we're gonna invite." Like, because I want to invite the whole entire world, right? But obviously, I don't know how feasible that's gonna be. So my point here is now I start creating reality where I see the people among me. I see the people that are gonna be there, and they're gonna naturally. The universe will create a perfect scenario within me, in my mind's eye, where I'll be able to manifest a venue, a situation that is perfect for me. And not perfect in the sense of there aren't everything is perfect rounded corners. No, no, no. I like a little bit of informality where you don't have everything that's perfect, right? It's perfect in the sense of just it being. So my point here is that the moment that I accept the reality that it is a stressful, anxiety-driven experience to plan a wedding, is the moment I start experiencing that reality. So that would be me turning my back on that great power of the universe, of God that lives within us, because I'm cutting off the power, the umbilical cord to that power, to that source. So you don't want to be in that situation. So you don't want to be around that negativity, that fear, that anxiety. Through the present moment. Pause. Let me horizontally cross that against something else. Now imagine, we're not talking about planning a wedding. Imagine you're talking about the perception of self. Imagine if you're talking about relationships that you're in. One misperception can lead to a lifetime of suffering because of one misperception. So I encourage and support the idea that we are ultra aware of where your thoughts are, where you're placing them, who's around you, who's influencing you. Because at the end of the day, those are some of the primary variables that will either save your life or lead you to a place of potential darkness. Through the present moment, you have access to the power of life itself. You guys, those words are so powerful. Through the present moment, you have access to the power of life itself. That is powerful. That which has traditionally been called God. As soon as you turn away from it, God ceases to be a reality in your life, and all you are left with is the mental concept of God. So, in other words, living in the present moment allows you to continuously be fed by that umbilical cord or that outlet we call God. And because God lives within us, we're technically always plugged into ourselves. And through ourselves, when we're plugged in, we are abundantly creating the pathway to the universe and the unlimited power that exists of blessings to come through our lives, in and out, in and out, in and out, where you get to a point where it almost feels like you aren't even living a human experience any longer. It feels that like everything that's happening around you, you send love, you send light, but because you're not focused on the negativity, you're not manifesting negativity, so you almost feel like you're exempt from it. But not to be blinded, not to be blinded. It's not a point to be blinded, but it's a point to say even though all of these things are happening around us, we still have the ability and the capacity to live a life that is abundantly blessed, and that has no suffering. But as soon as you turn away from that, you disrupt that path of blessings that come to you in your life. Even belief in God is only a poor substitute for the living reality of God manifesting every moment of your life. Man, this is wild. Like the Taoist sages of ancient China, Jesus likes to draw our attention to nature because he sees a power at work in it that humans have lost touch with. In other words, people have lost touch with their inner God. It is the creative power of the universe. Jesus goes on to say that if God clothes simple flowers in such beauty, how much more will God clothe you? That is to say that while nature is beautiful expression of the evolutionary impulse of the universe, when humans become aligned with the intelligence that underlies it, they will express that same impulse on a higher, more wondrous level. This is so well written. Does that make sense? Is everybody with me on this right now? That is to say that while nature is a beautiful expression of the evolutionary impulse of the universe, nature is a beautiful example to say there is more to life than this human experience. When it comes to humans, though, like as the previous page said, we have lost contact or lost our ability to connect with our inner God. But when we do connect with that inner God, and we do open up the pathway to success, as humans, we become aligned with the intelligence that underlies the creation of the natural beauty that we call nature. They will express that same impulse, they being humans, on a higher and more wondrous level. So imagine the power that lives within us is the power that underlies, is the intelligence. You have nature, which is energetically the energy of nature is breathtaking. We have, and it sits right here. We have the intelligence that's carved out right under that, very, very close to it. The thing that created nature, we have that intelligence. We have that level of power in which we can create a life that is more wondrous and more imaginative than nature. But yet, we decide to kill each other. But yet, we decide to hate each other. But yet, we decide to, shame each other, judge each other, put each other down. But we all have this same exact power to live a life and create a life that's more beautiful or is aligned to the same level of nature. But yet we do all these things. Does that make sense? I don't know if that makes sense. When we can love each other and there's enough for everybody to live and love together. There is no competition. There is not scarcity. There is not hate. There is only love. There is only abundance. There's only gratitude, humility, for your brother and for yourself and for your sister and for yourself. So be true to life by being true to your inner purpose. As you become present and thereby total in what you do, your actions become charged with spiritual power. At first, there may be no noticeable change in what you do. Only the how changes. Your primary purpose is now to enable consciousness to flow into what you do. The way that you create consciousness, the way you unlock your brain and then pull the cap over, and so for energy and spiritual awareness to come into you, is by getting to know who you are inside. And this is one of the ways, this platform here, journaling, reading, and meditating is one of the ways for you to tap into, to open up your brain and to open up your mind, to allow for that beauty, that power to surge through you. And when you do that, you're able to create on very large length, very large scale. So at first, it may not be noticeable, right? But the how is important. The secondary purpose is whatever you want to achieve through the doing. Whereas the notion of purpose, because was always associated with future, there is now a deeper purpose that can only be found in the present through the denial of time. So, because you're not future pacing, you're able to focus on the synchronicity, you're able to focus on the intricateness or the intricacies of the present moment. You're able to give the present moment your fullest attention, and when you're able to do that, you're able to really dissect and figure out how it is you can be the best at what you're doing today, whether that's being a human or being in some type of professional or career, right? Some type of work. So the book suggests when you meet with people at work or whatever it is, it may be, give them your fullest attention. This is a huge one. You are no longer there primarily as a person, but as a field of awareness or alert presence. The original reason for interacting with the other person, buying or selling something, requesting or giving information, and so on, now becomes secondary. The field of awareness that arises between you becomes the primary purpose of interaction. So even, and this is like sales 101, people 101, even when you're even when you're just sitting there and you're on a sales call or you're just out, stop and give people your fullest attention, and make them feel human. And that is not necessarily from a standpoint of making them feel human, right? It's just stopping and acknowledging them as a person. They have something to say to you. Be interested, be genuinely. If you're not interested in people, then get out of the people business and figure out another way to approach. No judgment. Leave that as it is. But especially when you're in the people business, you gotta get to know people. You know, people aren't transactions. Yes, you know, in what you do, in how you do it, can make you a lot of money. And so therefore, but to lose sight of the humanistic aspect will not may hinder you from being successful eternally in the business world. And that's something that I realized. So every single person that I work with is my like every person is my family, period. But when it comes to people who trust me with the responsibility of helping them with obviously anything related to real estate here, but anybody who trusts me with that responsibility, they then become like, I'm very much in tune. I'm very much trying to get to know who they are, because at the end of the day, without people, without the humanistic connection, without trust, without love, without respect, there is very little way for me to be successful in what I do. So that's one mindset. But the way in which I look at my business, the way in which I live my life and how I run the business in that angle and through that lens, that is what's most important to me, people. And that's why it's so fun and it doesn't feel like a job. Because I get to meet new people. I get to learn things about myself every single day. And it's awesome. Some say that success is a result of a combination of hard work and luck. or determination and talent, or being in the right place at the right time. While any of these may be determinants of success, they aren't they are not its essence. What the world doesn't tell you because it doesn't know is that you cannot become successful. You can only be successful. Don't let a mad world tell you that success is anything other than successful present moment. And what is that? There is a sense of quality in what you do, even the most simple action. Quality implies care and attention, which comes with awareness. Quality requires your presence. So if you don't make the bed if you're not gonna put the pillows right. You see what I'm saying? Like, don't like my little nephew. I was with my little nephew the other day, and I threw the football to him. Boom, he caught it, and then he's like, "Man, I need to move all this stuff because I can't catch the ball." And he's over here trying to move his. He has the football in his hand, and he's trying to move the bicycle over to the side of the house. And I'm like, "Q, put the ball down, pick up the bike, and put it over by the wall, rest it on the wall." So that's doing it with quality and care, right? You're focused on one thing. That's who I am. Like, if I'm working on something, like, I'm so intensely focused on it, I have to finish this thought. Don't talk to me. I need to finish this thought because I need to. I'm doing it with quality and care, And so when you do it with quality and care, you're not trying to, Okay, well, shoot, you know what I mean? Oh, you gotta get a sip of water. Like, and then everything, you drop things, you crack the floor, you do this, you break that. And I noticed that especially when I walk out of the house. When I walk out of the house, I don't like coming back up the stairs. Pause. It's not a matter of not liking it, but I don't wish to. And so I try to take everything I can to get out of the house. I put this bag on this shoulder. I put this bag on this shoulder. I got my lunch pail. I got my gym bag. I got all this stuff, and I'm trying to carry out the house. It's like, no, do it with quality and care and patience. Pick up one bag, pick up another bag, walk outside, put it in the car, organize it, come back in the house, get the rest of the bags, and then walk out, and then put it in the car. Get in the car, make sure the house is locked, boom, walk out, and then drive to work or drive to wherever you need to be. You see what I'm saying? Like, that's the difference, like quality and care, rather than like just corralling everything, That's just one example, obviously. But success, success, what the world doesn't tell you because it doesn't know. This is an important thing too. To gain your perception of what it means to be successful is coming from a collective consciousness or intelligence that may not even know what the hell success is. They may not even know what success is, but they're sitting here trying to tell us what it means to be successful. That's why success is independent upon every person, because every person has a different life. Every person has a different journey, and their journey is perfect just the way that it is. And the world, even though the world tries to tell us success is X, and they don't really know. The thing that they don't tell you about success that they miss is that you can only be successful, right? You can only be successful. So you cannot become successful. You can only be successful. And when you be, naturally you become. And I mean, obviously that's total contradictory hypocrisy. But hey, don't let a mad world tell you that success is anything other than a successful present moment. And what is that? There is a sense of quality in what you do, even the most simple action. In reality, you spent 2 years polluting your body as well as the earth with negative energy, made yourself and those around you miserable, and affected many others you have never met. So what he was referring to in that sentence is that you spend 2 years of your life, you're a business person, and you're living your life in intense stress and intense strain, that you finally manage to come out with a product that sells and makes you money. In the conventional terms, that's successful. But in reality, you spent 2 years polluting your body and killing people around you, energetically killing people around you. The outcome, which is inseparable from the actions that led to it, is already contaminated by those actions and so will create further unhappiness. This is karmic action, which is the unconscious perpetuation of unhappiness. So, by the end, but the end and the means are one. So, the means to the end and the end are one. And if the means did not contribute to human happiness, neither will the end. So, if what you do to get to the goal, so from a business person's perspective, you work. You come out with a product, but along the way, you're angry. You're always upset. You're irritated. You're irritable. You're making people around you unhappy. If the means of getting to the end is not favorable or consists of happiness, or you're not enjoying the journey, when you get to the end, you're going to be miserable, mad, and anxious and upset also. So enjoy the journey. And that's why I always encourage to stop and smell the roses, because when you stop and smell the roses, you're able to enjoy the journey for what it is. And that's why there's really no negative moment. There's no negative experience, because you're like, okay, in this very moment, I'm feeling this way, and this just happened to me. I have two options of behavior. I can either be upset, and then that upset stems off into all the other negative emotions, or I can be happy, which would ultimately stem to a sense of gratitude and humility, and say, okay, what can I learn from this? And so when you live that way, the journey becomes a little bit more successful also, because you're not always focused on things that show up and then associating them with a negative outcome or a negative energy wavelength. So being just being a being, just being allows you to create happiness. And when you start to unlayer and uncover that happiness within you, then you are able to live a journey, and then the means to the end. So the things that you do along the way of getting to the end are so enjoyable that when you get to the end, you are very, very happy. And so it is. So feel free to repeat after me. This is my life. I am aware. I take full responsibility for my reality and thoughts. I recognize I have the power to manifest the best possible life. A life of wealth, love, and peace. I truly believe I have zero limitations. I trust my instincts, God, and universe. I am ready to transcend. I have arrived. And so it is. To everybody who jumped on this morning to the messenger board, good morning. I love you guys. Thank you for being present with me. Everybody who's at home watching, sending their energy and support through the camera, thank you. Received and reciprocated to you. I hope you all have the best day of your life. It's 6:30. Happy Tuesday. Happy Memorial Day to all the veterans, if there are any veterans who served. And I will see you all tomorrow at 5 a.m. Peace.